apologies in advance if I start crying during this video, because it probably will happen. I've pretty much been doing it all night, but I wish I didn't have to make this video. But if you read the title and clicked on this, or if you follow any of my other social medias, or read my community tab, you already know. You already know what happened. But I feel like since I've been MIA for a few days, off the grid basically, I owe you guys some kind of explanation of where I've been and why I've been gone. But my sweet little Talia girl, she crossed the Rainbow Bridge. She was 17 though, so I mean she lived a good long life, and of those 17 years we had her for 12 of them, so it's a long time. It's a long time. And it's not like it came out of nowhere. We knew it was coming. I mean, she was 17 first off, but we knew it was coming. Actually, to be fair, there have been a couple of streaks in the past year where I thought this day was on the brink of happening, but then didn't, and she would pull out of it and end up okay again. I wanted to believe that was going to happen this time. I think I just knew this time was different. Like, even a week ago, I think I knew. But a year or two ago, when we had that massive, crazy wind and rainstorm, we had brought her outside to go potty on, like, the patio steps, so she didn't have to, like, go down in the rain or anything. But the winds were so strong, it blew and knocked her off of them. It's only 2 steps, but she was only a tiny little 5-pound Pomeranian. Now, don't think she broke anything or anything. She could walk just fine. She wasn't, like, yelping or acting like she had been injured or anything. But immediately after that, like, the next few days afterwards, she acted like she was dying. Like, wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink, wouldn't get up. We thought, oh, shit. But she recovered. And she was never quite the same after that. And I had so much guilt. I was still working at Mod at that point. And I remember I had to go in for a shift one of those initial days right after that happened, and I was a sobbing mess at work in front of freaking customers and everything, because I was so convinced she was going to go while I was at work and I wouldn't be with her. Thankfully that didn't happen, but yeah, pretty much anyone who worked with me during that knows damn well I was a freaking wreck, because that dog was the closest thing I had to a baby. It's different. It's different than a cat. It's different than a cat. I've had many cats over the years, and I thought, for how attached I was to them, that I'd be emotionally prepared for it. It's nothing like with a cat. Dogs love you back so much harder than a cat does. Like, that's not to say cats don't love. They do. They do. But it's different. It's a totally different vibe, and I did not comprehend that before I had a dog. This was my first dog I ever had in my life. So there was that initial streak there that we thought we were losing her. Then ironically, last year around the same time, it might have even been the same date and everything, she out of nowhere just like got very lethargic, very sick feeling, wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink, wouldn't get out of her bed for days again. Thought it was happening again that time. And I know for a fact it was right around this time of year, because it's right before Halloween, and like Beetlejuice of all things was on, and I couldn't even enjoy it because, you know, there's so many themes of death in that I was just like, this feels wrong to be watching this right now. If she is actively dying right here, right under the TV, like, bro. Worst part, I was this close to watching that same movie yesterday till all of a sudden was like, wait, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. She recovered that time too, but she was even more not the same after that time. Like, I don't know if she got doggy dementia. Again, she was 17. She was really old. I don't take that for granted. But, like, she would just kind of wander around, didn't really seem to know where she was a lot of the time. Had to be guided to her food and water. She had, what is it called when you get, like, the white filmy thing in one eye? Is that glaucoma? Is that cataract? She had one of those in one eye, and we don't think she saw very well out of the other one. Like, she was damn near blind by the time she died. I don't think she heard very well. She could hear some things. Like, even yesterday, she was still reacting to loud stuff, so she could definitely still hear some things. We just don't know how much. But, yeah, we could tell she was going downhill. And it was one of those things where every single day I would wake up and immediately go looking for her. A, because I was half terrified I'd be the one to find her dead one morning, and B, when I would inevitably find her awake and fine, I was just so grateful to have another day with her. And I was just counting my blessings every single day that she was still here. And I think about a week ago, no, actually, backtrack a little more than that. About 2 weeks ago first, she started wandering into weird places in the house that weren't her norm. And then she would, like, feel trapped and start yiping, like, help, help, help. Like, it was like this weird, like, yap, 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 like, not a usual sound out of her. And I mean, ever since, like, that storm where she fell off the step, she hasn't really been a barker ever since then. And you guys know, she used to be a very barky little thing. So for her to suddenly make any sound, it was like, oh shit, where is she? What's wrong? So I think one time we found her behind, like, the bathroom door downstairs, just like in that little wedge space. Another time we found her in the pantry behind that door. We found her behind the armchair down in the living room, like behind the speaker for the TV, numerous times back there. Found her, like, under, like, not the coffee table, but, like, the end table, trying to get behind the TV itself, and then feeling trapped and, like, help, 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 I didn't mean to do this, like, basically found her back there. All sorts of really weird places that were not like her, and all the years we had her, that was not normal for her. And yes, I kind of was already starting to suspect at that point. I was like, oh shit. I know what animals do when they're dying. They want to find a place to hide and die. I know this from the cats. But it wasn't until probably about exactly a week ago, I woke up, went down to get my coffee, and I immediately knew something was wrong when all the lights were on downstairs. And my dad was awake. I was just like, oh shit. He's like, did you take the dog to bed with you last night? I was like, no. Why? He's like, did your mom take the dog to bed with her? No. Why? And we couldn't find her freaking anywhere. Turns out she had somehow managed to wedge behind the couch and half under it. Never in the amount of time we've had her has she ever gone back there. Not even once. So it's like, when I saw her, like, half wedged under there, actually, at first, I thought she was already dead for how still she was and just laying there, and I freaked. But I'm the only one small enough to wedge back there myself to try to fish her out, and as I, like, got my arm under the sofa and kind of was, like, tapping, like, her back end and just try to get her out from under there, she woke up. I was like, oh, thank God you're not dead. But I got her out of there, but I think that was the day I knew that she's not long. She's not long. And it wasn't very long after that. I think it was another day or two, she started refusing food. So we were, like, giving her lactose-free milk, so she at least had something with some caloric intake in it, along with her water, just to give her something, anything, which normally she loved. And she had a few more days where she was still drinking that, and then she started refusing that. And then she started refusing water. And I was like, oh, fuck. So, between that, she was already a teeny little 5-pound dog. She lost weight like that, like, super, super skinny. She was so tiny, oh my god, like, by the time she died, you could feel, like, every bone on her. Oh my god. Like, it was like petting a skeleton dog. Like, it was insane how fast she lost that much weight. And I have my own theory on this. I think maybe she had some kind of doggy cancer, but at the age she was, it was one of those things where even if you took them to a vet, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to tell you at this age, there's no point throwing that much money at treating them. So you want us to just put it down? And we don't believe in that unless they are like actively in pain and can't handle it. Then okay, it's humane. But we don't play that game. We like to let our pets live out their days. My dad never had a dog live as long as this one, but then again, he grew up with big dogs, so that's also a different thing. But he also never had one just make it to old age and just die of natural causes, because they all had like some weird freak fluke accident, like getting kicked by a horse or something, or got outside and played in traffic, like stupid shit like that. He never had one just die of old age. So this was even new territory for him, and he grew up with a fuck ton of dogs. But yeah, I'm very acutely aware of very, very subtle smells that seemingly no one else picks up on. Like, for years, people thought I was crazy because I can smell the sick smell, like about 24 hours before somebody comes down with anything. I can't describe to you what it smells like, but I know it when I sense it. My throat instantly closes up a bit, like it's trying to protect itself, like, don't inhale that, you'll get sick, basically. But I know it when I smell it. And sure enough, like, usually, whoever's room it's near that I picked up on it, 24 hours later, they're sick. Over the years, that has gotten honed in more and more specifically to, there's like the generic sick smell, which is stuff like general colds, flu, that kind of stuff. There's the stomach bug smell, which is a very different smell, and I hate it, and I panic anytime I smell that one, because I know damn well that shit, if I even smell it, I'm gonna catch it. But there's that one. There is a cancer smell. I very reluctantly had to tell my mom that I did sense it on her before she got diagnosed last time, that when it was back, that, yeah, I didn't want to, like, freak you out in case I was somehow wrong, but yeah, I smelled it on you. There's that. There is the diabetic, like, sugar spike smell. That also has a smell. It's like that is probably the only one I could probably describe to you what it smells like when I smell it. But, like, my grandpa was a diabetic, and I think there was only, like, a very small handful of times that I was ever around him when he had, like, a super high spike that sent his ass to the hospital, but it's like this weird, sickly sweet, almost like fruit or something. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to put it into words, but it is a very specific, exact kind of a smell. And like every time, sure enough, like by the end of the day, he'd be in the hospital. That has a smell. And as I found out with my Nana, apparently there is in fact a death smell. I thought I was being paranoid the day that I walked in her house. That ended up being the day she died. There was a smell in there I had never smelled in my life before. And I asked my mom, is there such a thing as a death smell? She's like, no, of course not. And apparently she was just trying to spare my anxiety that day. But yeah, there very much is. And that very much was it. Because I've smelled it a couple other times since that day. It's very much a thing. It is very much a thing. So this doggy didn't exactly have that death smell. I don't know if that is specific to just humans or what. But she, for sure, all of a sudden was emanating a death smell. So I was like, I smell decomp. I know that smell a mile away. It's one of those things, if you have ever smelled it even once in your life, you never forget it. You know it. You know it. I was like, but she's still alive. Why does she smell like decomp? It was like on her breath. And I was like, oh god. That was when I knew for sure it's going to be like in the next couple days, if not today. And it was within the next couple days, because like after the day I noticed it, my dad noticed it, and so did my mom. And then the next day was yesterday when she died. So apparently I picked up on it before anybody, but yeah, it's not a pleasant thing. So whatever it is, seemed like things were shutting down from the inside and working outwards. But I knew it was coming, hence why I was kind of missing in action here. because I just wanted to be with her as much as I could while she was still here, because I did not want to have that regret later. God, I'm glad I did. Yesterday, almost nonstop, I was downstairs, and my mom and I just kept trading off on who was holding her, curled up in a blanket. Or if she got uncomfy enough, she would lay on the floor for a little bit before one of us would pick her up again. But she started making this weird sound yesterday specifically. I have never heard her make in her life before. And I was like, oh my god, is this the dog version of a death rattle? It was almost like she was trying to whine or yelp, but it was hoarse. Like she could, wasn't even strong enough to make the sound. It was like that. And every time she did it, I just started bawling because I was just like, oh fuck, this is it. I had done really good the other times we thought she was on death's doorstep of trying to hold my shit together, being like, nope, you know what, while she is still here, hold your shit together. Yeah, all the time in the world to fall apart later when she actually does for real go. But now we're there, so... And I feel guilty that even though I was with her like 90% of yesterday, I got my Amazon packages for the room renovation and everything. There's literally only one more purchase I need to make, but this being in the setup in this room, probably within like the next 2 to 3 weeks total, I'll be in there with the new setup and everything, because I just need to buy the new mattress for my bed now. But I need to be able to get it through that pathway where this table's gonna go, so I can't move it in there yet, but I have the frickin' room divider, I have the backdrops, I have the clips to hold up the backdrops, I have the zip ties to like secure the yarn wall holder thing. That's probably gonna be today's project, doing that. I thought they were coming earlier yesterday than they did. They didn't come till nighttime, and then we know what happened, but I also got like this art cart thing to put like my sketchbooks and some of my art supplies in. Doesn't fit all of them by any means, but it fits at least all my sketchbooks in it anyway. I'm still trying to decide which art supplies I'm gonna keep in there and which ones are gonna just shuffle off to the side of the room somewhere, because I'm thinking my things and markers are way too bulky. It's taking up too much room in there. I'd rather have the PAX colored pencils in there. But anyway, that is beside the fucking point. That does not matter. I thought I had time to set that thing up. It only took me about 20 minutes to like assemble the whole thing and fill it. And I was so proud, and I was just about to roll it out to about like the doorway of my room to show my mom, hey, look what I got done. And just before I did, she goes, Jen, Tolly's gone. Fuck me. If I had known it was gonna be that close, I never would have left that dog side. I left that dog side to eat my dinner. I stopped in and looked at her one more time before I went upstairs, but I thought I was coming right back down, and then I'd hold her. Apparently those were the 20 minutes that mattered. And they were the ones I wasn't with her with, and I feel so freaking guilty. I know, some of you guys are going, geez, Jen, it's just a dog. It wasn't just a dog to me. It wasn't. I feel so guilty for not being with her. And even when I did go look at her, all I did was just apologize to her over and over for not being there right at the end. As I should have been there. I should have been there. I had been fully prepared to stay up with her all night if need be, just in case, while everyone else slept, just to make sure that in case she passed, she wouldn't be alone when she passed. I was fully prepared to do that last night. She was still hanging in there at bedtime, but she was already gone at like 7 something, I think. And honestly, we kind of just, we set her in her bed and put a sheet over her. My dad's gonna bring her to be cremated today, which I have so many conflicting emotions about. We've never cremated them here for our pets. We've always buried them. It feels wrong to do to her. It feels wrong to know that they're gonna burn up my little baby. He got too inside his own head about thinking about what happens when you bury him in the ground, and he's having an existential crisis over that, and clearly he doesn't know what happens when you cremate someone. I know way too much about the topic of what happens when you do that, because I'm a morbid little thing that watches the Mortician channels, and now I'm regretting doing that, because maybe it would have been better if I didn't know. Maybe it would have been better, but I do know, and it's fucking with me. But I feel so guilty. I just feel so guilty. This is the first one of my pets I ever saw dead, too, by the way, in case anybody was curious of that. The only pet I ever saw dead before this was my fishes. It's a fish, who gives a shit? Like, I didn't see the birds when they died. I didn't see the cats when they were dead. My dad made sure to shield me from those. He gave me the option if I wanted to look, but I didn't want to. My horses, I didn't see any of them dead, and it's definitely for the best that I didn't with them. I don't think my heart could have handled that. And this is the only one. This is the only one I have ever seen dead. I think the only dead animal I've ever seen in my life before was like a dead squirrel on the side of the road. And like the remainder of a deer that a coyote got to once. So, you know, kind of mildly traumatizing to me, just like morbid curiosity peeking under the sheet and seeing her eyes still open and her mouth hanging open. I shouldn't have looked. But I think I needed to know for sure that she actually, for real, was for sure gone. And I wasn't the only one that was doing it. My mom peeked a few times just to make sure maybe it wasn't like a psych out thing where all of a sudden it's like, wait, no, she was just like sleeping real weird or something. No. She got cold, she got stiff, she's gone. So we left her in the bed until all of us went upstairs, and then I heard my dad very quiet. I could tell what he was doing just by the sounds of where the footsteps were going. He apparently picked up her bed and brought it out to the garage and put her in the car. So she'll already be in the car to bring to the pet crematory today. So that's the thing. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard, but it's the trade-off for all the happiness that they give you, and the happiness outweighs the bad so much. I fully acknowledge that. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would take all of this again to do it again. But at this point, I think we have to wait until after my sister's wedding, just because I know we have to stay at least overnight for that. And we don't want to have to worry about putting a dog up in a kennel or leaving it home alone or anything, so it'll probably be after she gets married that we start looking for the next doggy. But I feel lost. I keep going downstairs and finding myself looking around for her and then remembering, oh yeah, she's gone, she's not here, you're not gonna find her. And my dad took her collar off. I had like this moment of false hope of like I heard the collar and just am like so tuned into like you hear the jingles of her collar and look around for where is she, and then oh right, it's not actually her. His dad taking off the collar. So I'm sure I sound insane, but I feel like it's important to be transparent about things like this so that somebody else who might be watching this, who might go through something like this, feels less alone if it resonates with them. For me, I slept with this stuffed animal all night of a Pomeranian that's roughly about the same size she was, same color she was, and I'm probably going to be hugging it a lot in the near future. It's technically my mom's, but weirdly, just before she went to bed, I was about to ask her, could I borrow this to sleep with? And she, before I even said it, she was like, could you take this somewhere for me where I don't have to look at it? I was like, I was literally just about to ask, can I have it for now? Because I need it. Emotionally, I need it. So, it at least gives me something to hug close. It gives me something to hold in my arms. It's about the same size she was. Even just looking on the viewfinder, like my brain still thinks it's her, even though I know logically it's just a stuffed animal. But even just like hugging it to my chest all night, like I apparently was hugging it so hard I could feel my own heartbeat through it, and it almost felt like a real dog. Like I could feel its heartbeat, because even though I know logically it was just mine, but it made it almost realistic enough to be comforting enough, just enough to be able to fall asleep. Because I wasn't able to fall asleep for shit before that. I was up to like 2 or 3 a.m. just like so beyond myself. I just realized this whole time I've been talking into this. Not even plugged in. Good job, self. Good job, self. Well, I guess we don't need that in my way then. Cool. Cool. I don't know how much of this is even going to be audible for how quiet I've been talking. I thought I was talking into the mic, but here we are. I'm not filming it twice. I'm not filming it twice. You can turn up the volume. It's just surreal, even though I knew it was coming. There's so many times it almost happened over the years that I saved her. Like, let us not forget the time that I took her for a walk years and years and years ago, and she somehow Houdini'd out of her little collar. I don't know how. She had it on properly. She somehow managed to get out of it. And by the time I realized where she was in the middle of the street, and there was a car coming. I got hit by a car that day to keep that dog from getting hit. Yeah, and that was like the first inkling I had of, oh my god, is that what maternal instinct is like? Holy shit. That is no joke, because I didn't consciously do this. It was just split-second reaction of, oh my god. Because I knew damn well if I came home without that dog in one piece, I would have been dead meat anyway. But it was like, no, I would do anything to save that dog. And I did. I saved her. I prevented her from getting hit. But, oh my god. That was a crazy day. There was multiple times my sister had her kids over here. They were little. They were running around. And many of them nearly tripped and fell on her. Again, little tiny 5-pound dog, it wouldn't take much to wipe her out. And it was almost like watching in slow-mo, and I'd like freaking dive bomb from across the whole damn room and like knock one of them to the floor out of the way. Seeing them almost fall on her, it's like, okay, I'm totally sorry that I did that. I'm sorry if you got like a bruise from that. But you almost fell on Tolly. I can't let you fall on her. My sister understood. She did not hold it against me. But, like, yeah, it's just instant how split second it is. I was like, whoa. I didn't know I had those kind of maternal instincts at all until this dog. I thought I was just one of those people who was born without any of that. I'm just like, I don't have a bio clock. I don't have a maternal instinct bone in my body. No, I'm not built for that. Ha, ha. And then this doggy came along and was like, guess what? You totally do. You totally do, and you actually like protecting something. You actually love babying something. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. So, there was all of that, but she was such a good girl. She was just the goodest little good girl in the world. Every single morning, first thing I would do is go find wherever she was in the house and go hug her and kiss her little face and tell her I loved her and hope that she never, ever, ever forgot it. I'm sure there's some hater out there watching this video laughing their ass off right now. Go ahead, I don't care. I have to process and feel what I need to feel. And if you're so heartless as to laugh at that's a you thing, not a me thing. But God, this hurts. This hurts so much more than I thought it would. I always knew it was gonna hurt, but I don't think I anticipated it was gonna hurt this much, or that I was gonna feel this lost after. Like, I knew I felt lost after the cats, but this is a different kind of lost. This is a different kind of hurt. I don't even know what to do with myself. I took that one last photo of her a few hours before she died that I posted over on my socials. It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on Instagram. If you haven't seen it, you can go look at it if you're curious. Like, my sister was freaked out when she saw me post it. She's like, oh my god, you didn't post a picture of the dog already dead, did you? It's like, no, this was hours ago, no. God, I wouldn't do that. No, but fuck, this hurts. But again, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And yet part of me is still worried all night about, but what if she's not really dead? Even though I totally already felt her stiff. I know logically she is, but I worried the whole night about what if she's not? What if she wakes up in that car and she's all alone and she's scared? And part of me still ridiculously worries, like, what if they get her in the crematorium? What if she's not really dead and they burn her alive? Even though I know logically she's not, but there's no getting that through to my anxiety. I don't know if it's like with people where they double and triple check to make absolutely sure that they're like actually dead, like with a stethoscope and everything to make sure. I don't know if they do that with animals, and that makes me worry more. Like I said, I've never had the math to do this with an animal before. This hurts so much. And the shirt I was wearing while holding her all yesterday, I feel like I'm probably just gonna like put it back because it still has her fur on it, and I don't want to lose like the last little pieces of her existence on this planet. It sounds batshit insane, I know, and it probably is. I was the same way over my first cat. I did this over him too. I wore his collar as a bracelet for years until it wore out. I still have it somewhere. I'm gonna keep hers too. But it's just the irony of the timing. My dad had just gotten through. He had spent weeks building like this lovely, like, it was like a holder for like her food and water dishes and everything, so she wouldn't slide him around on the floor or tip him over or anything. He had just finished this thing last weekend. She never even got to use it. I know, we'll still have it for the next dog, but just somehow I knew it was jinxing it somehow. When he started working on it, I just somehow knew. Don't ask me how I knew, but I knew. It's one of those things where it's like, I would do anything just to hold her one more time. I wanted to be with her so badly and just hold her while she passed, and I didn't get to. And I feel so bad about it. I don't know how to process that. See, at least when the cats went, and Kiwi went, I was already asleep. I'd already gone to bed for the night. I was a little kid, so there was nothing I could have done with that one. Claus passed while I was at school. So again, I couldn't be there with her because she went before I even got home. It's a different thing. It's a different thing entirely. With the horses, my dad made sure I never saw those happen. Be they of natural causes or the ones that had to be put down. Like, he made sure I never ever saw those happen because he knew I couldn't handle it, and he for sure is right about that. There's no way I could handle that, but that doggy was such a fighter. Oh, she held in there so hard and so long. So much longer than we expected her to, and I'm grateful for every single day I had with her. But God, it hurts. So seeing the news this morning that, oh, now we're finally getting the announcement of the final Beatles song, I'm like, wow, really, universe? Timing. I've heard the demo of it, so I know the lyrics. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cry like a little bitch over this, aren't I, when it drops. But it's one of those things where it's just like, silver lining. I probably do need this right now. But, oh man. Yeah, before anyone runs it past me, I already know about it. But yeah, because I'm processing this, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to make a video about it till the actual song is here. But yeah, that's where I've been. And why I've been pretty much MIA. Is I've been with her, because I knew the end was close, and I wanted to spend all the time with her that I possibly could. I don't regret a minute of it. I know that you guys will understand. I knew that you guys will still be here when I come back, but I knew it couldn't possibly be that long. I just knew. That's why I had no guilt about just kind of disappearing. I thought it was going to be faster than this, even, to be completely honest with you. I didn't want it to be, but I expected it to be. So, you know, it's like that. So I'm sorry for leaving anybody hanging who was like, where are you? Why did you just disappear? That's where I've been. And it's probably going to take a while for me to process it all out. I'm probably going to be very, very sensitive about everything for a while. But I'll be around. I'll try my best to get back into the groove of uploading, because I definitely need the distraction. But I felt I owed it to you guys to let you know what was going on, and to let you know that she's gone. Because I know a lot of you guys loved her too. I remember, like, some of my earliest live streams on Instagram. People didn't want to see me. They were just like, I'd be on there and like immediately people, so where's your doggy? She's very loved. I'm never gonna stop loving her till the day I die.